today we're being joined by potential AFLW draftee from South Australia, Bianca Portaro. Bianca, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no worries. Hello, how are you?
Not bad, thanks, you.
That's good.
That's good. No, so tell us a bit about yourself, what got you into footy and what type of player you are.
Yeah, so when I was younger, my dad and my brother played footy, so I was always around the footy club and I always watched everyone play, and I've always wanted to be in that sort of game. I loved watching everyone just take the game on and tackling. Like, it was always something that I was interested in. So I asked my dad if I could play, and he didn't want me playing with the boys. So at my footy club, we started an under 16s girls team.
Yep.
And we got a team up and running, and we were fortunate enough to win the grand final in the first year playing. And it was just from there is where I found my love in footy and just always played since. And when I was growing up, I always watched the AFL. Loved from huge Port supporter, so I'd go to all their games. So I've always wanted to be just like one of those. And when I saw that girls' footy was uprising, I couldn't take the chances to get into it.
It's good. So now, I was going to mention this later, but I'll mention this now. They mentioned Port Adelaide. A lot of the SA girls I've had on, I don't know the exact number, but it's just over 10 probably. And I think a lot of those girls barrack for Port Adelaide over Adelaide. Why do you think that is? Or maybe it's a club thing, because I've had a fair few Eagles girls on.
Yeah, well, I've been going for Port Adelaide since the day I was born. Like, my family's crazy Port fans, and I don't know if it's just like what it is, but my dad brainwashed me, and now it's like Port only. So, yeah.
So how's the rivalry like for you? Do you have any? I'm sure you have some mates that go for the Crows, and how's the showdown when it comes around in both competitions, for that matter?
Oh yeah, definitely. A lot of my friends still go for Crows too, especially because I'm still in school as well. And back at our footy clubs, and it's always friendly banter and straight away message if I've got a loss. I've got messages up on my phone. So yeah.
Good. So what type of player would you best describe yourself as? Would you be more of an attacking? Like, if you were to describe yourself to someone and say your best strengths as a footballer and the type of player, who would you say, or what would you say?
My best strength is probably like my repeated efforts. Like, I've said that's like we've done like these PDPs at Eagles, and like my weapon I always say is like my repeated efforts at the footy. Like, I don't give up on it until I've got it in my hand, or I know someone in my teammates got it that's like going to use the ball well. Definitely am a strong tackler. Being like a smaller player, I'm more of like a inside little player, but I played mid my whole like juniors footy, and then when I started at Eagles, they moved me into the back lines and played off like the half back lines as a short sort of defender. And then this year, slowly moving back into the midfield for Eagles as well.
That's good. So if you were to use an AFL or AFLW player comparison, because you mentioned the style of player you are already, so if you were to use an AFL AFLW player comparison, who would you pick?
Oh, that's a hard one. I don't know. Is this AFLW only?
Either or is fine.
Well, for AFL, I like to say, like, I kind of like to play like Sam Power Pepper a bit, like just hard at the footy, like just the hunger and the want for the ball. So, yeah.
That's good. So that's actually a good play. And he is probably someone that's transitioned into a few roles. Well, obviously the game's kind of changing over time. And why do you feel it's so important? And it's good, like you mentioned, to play a few roles as well, even if you're so good in one role, but to also be versatile. Because it's shown these days in both competitions that if you play one position and you're not going so great at it, you're probably going to find yourself out of the team if you haven't got another position to play.
Yeah, exactly. I think being versatile is definitely an important thing, like part of being like a footy player, because you never know who's going to get injured and when your opportunity is going to arise. And especially if learning backlines to have behind my name is really good, because if you're so young getting drafted, they're not just going to throw you in the mid straight away. So like having that extra support and like watching the game from the back lines really opened like my eyes a bit as well. Like, you get to watch the way the footy moves because you're in control behind the whole game. So definitely being able to learn two positions is really good, because it obviously, as you said, gives you more opportunity to get a spot in the team.
Sure. And you mentioned joining the Eagles at 16. How did that opportunity come about, and how did you feel when that opportunity was offered to you?
Yeah, so I started in the under 16 program, and then I was invited back out to join the SANFLW program. And when I got the invite, I could not believe it. I did not think that so young I would be playing like senior level footy at such a high standard. And when I did join, I was so nervous, but the girls around there are so good and just really helped you fit in. And it's like the standards of our program are just so high that it's makes you want and strive more for like the highest like point of footy you can get to.
Sure. Obviously, now this year, obviously being your draft year, how do you approach this year? Obviously, a fair bit different to the previous few years. How would you go with approaching this year?
Yeah, I'm definitely approaching it to be the best footy player I can be, and definitely like I always said that I want to stick to my recovery really well so that I don't end up like getting injuries or little niggles throughout the year, because obviously you don't want to have any issues going through injuries in your draft year, but just putting the foot down. I've been doing like all the little extra bits in the gym, like getting everything ticked off, like especially when we were over the Christmas break, making sure I still did the Ks so that I don't end up having that step back, and I'm just only getting better.
That's good. So, obviously, what is your aim for this year? What are some goals you set for yourself to get out of this year?
Yeah, as I said before, like I'm slowly trying to move in the mid, so I'd love to play some mid minutes in the SANFL League team this year. So that's one of my major goals. Obviously, I'd love to get drafted at the end of the year, but that's like a huge one. And also, I'm a part of the under 18 state academy, so I'd hope to be selected in the final squad.
Nice. So obviously, state team, obviously, as you'd be fully aware, the SA side has been so strong, especially in this year's draft. Obviously, Lauren Young, Shineah Goody, obviously from your Eagles, Piper Window, Elaine Grigg. There's so many names, and so many of them got drafted by Port Adelaide, coincidentally as well. And Alyssa and Molly Brooksby. There you go. So some more. What's it been like to play alongside some of those girls, or play obviously against them? Because obviously you played with Goody at the Eagles.
Yeah, playing with Goody was absolutely like an amazing experience. She's got so much talent and brains to offer. And even when the last few weeks at footy, when she's like not being able to train because she's in her resting period or whatever, she's really been giving me key tips, and like she just helps you get along the way. And because we're around the same fitness level as well, just pushing each other in our conditioning sets, and it's just great as well that you get to see that girls your age and your teammates can make it. So it gives you that inspiration and motivation that you can also do it if you really want to.
For sure. Have you been given any advice on how to handle this drafting from any of those girls, or any coaches or AFLW players, if you've had the opportunity to have any of them come by any trainings?
Yeah, not too much though. I know Goody likes to she always says, just keep it to yourself because you never know what way it could turn and things like that. So I think, just like not having a big head about it and just staying as like, as a good person, and just keep helping everyone out until you make it, I guess.
Yeah, that's good. So have you had a chance to meet with any AFLW players at any point? And if so, how have those moments been?
Yeah, so obviously I played with Abby Dowrick and Jazz Simmons, a few of the AFLW girls in our Eagles team. And when they're a part of our team, they're just like great leaders and just really good support around the footy. And, when they like have inputs into team discussions, that they know what they're talking about and you can trust them. And it's just nice to have them on the footy field with you. Like playing a few games with an AFLW player just makes so surreal. And it's like, it's just like that growth point of how much they can teach you and what you can get out of it.
Sure. So you mentioned playing with those two girls in Port Adelaide in particular. Is there any opponent, the toughest opponent you've had to match up in any of the SANFLW games, or any games you've been a part of? Have you had to match up or play against at least AFLW players since you played with a few?
When I was in the back lines, like season just gone, I don't know how it happened, but I ended up on Gemma Houghton, that even though I'm a lot shorter than her, just for a little bit, only because of like matchups and stuff and interchanges. And God, she's a gun. Like being a bit shorter than her, and she's a lot stronger. She was a hard one to shut down.
Yeah, just casually get one of the best top five forwards in the comp. Just a nice introduction. But then again, I suppose if you're lucky enough to end up getting drafted, it's good to have, even though, like you said, it was small, but small is better than nothing, to have that experience to know the expectations you would kind of have to go, and then none better than Gemma Houghton as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think it just really set the bar of like what the step is between SANFLW and AFLW. Like you definitely know they're stronger builds and fitter, faster, stronger.
Absolutely, and yeah, it's a good one. Which draftee? I think I might know the answer to this, but which draftee were you most excited to see get drafted this year? And yeah, thoughts on for them?
Yeah, well, I definitely am so excited for Goody.
Yeah.
Like she's been putting in the hard yards for so long now, and even like the effort she's been putting in to come down to Eagles because she's from the country, like you just know that she deserves it, and that like she'll just fit in so well at Port Adelaide, and I think it'll be great to see her on the TV.
Sure, that's good. Any favourite teammates you had at the Eagles or any other teams?
Yeah. Favorite teammates, gotta love Grace Martin.
Great.
We always work well together, and Marley Fegert, she's a good one too. And I was really good mates with Gemma, still am, but she's just not at Eagles at the moment. But we still see each other at States, so yeah.
A Gemma charity you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
How did you react? I actually asked Grace the same question. How did you react to when Gemma made the move? And did she give you a heads up, or did you just find out like everyone else?
No, she did give us a heads up. It was pretty sad, but she's got to do what's best for her. And if that's her decision at the end of the day. But no matter what, friendships always stay within footy. And I can't wait to burst her on the footy field this season, I guess.
Would there be a few banter or a few words exchanged?
Oh, maybe here and there. We already stir each other up a little bit here and there, but nothing too major.
It's all right. Well, there might be if you face up against each other. Now, any particular words you got about Gemma or about Grace that you feel like are getting to the levels? Obviously, both girls had the great opportunity to play in the state championships as a bottom major with those star-studded names we just mentioned before.
Yeah, well, I've definitely, because Gracie this year, she's just improved out of sight. Like, just over the off season, she just put in so much effort getting it, like, just in the gym and getting her sprint up, that her footy in our little internal trial matches that we've been doing out of training, she's just, like, absolutely a gun now. When she's got the footy in her hands, she takes it to the next level, and everyone's really seen that. So I think she'll definitely go far this year.
Sure, and Gemma obviously had making the All-Australian team as well as a bottom major. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, her being a bottom major, making the All-Australian was a very proud moment when I found out. She's honestly the most dedicated person to footy as well, and I know how much she loves her footy, and for her to be chosen at such a young age is absolutely a great achievement for her.
Now, you've had some own individual and team success locally, winning a premiership in 2019 and last year in a country league team, and which just quietly you got best on ground. So how was the 2 grand finals and how would you compare the two?
Yeah, the 2 grand finals were quite differently because the first one was obviously my first year of footy, so I was very nervous, and I was captain of the team, and my dad was the coach, and my sister and my 2 cousins are in the team, so we were all like so nervous. And it was like hail, like a bit of a really wet weather footy games, so very low scoring, but it was a great, like, back then I probably was just playing footy for the fun of it and the love. Where last year when I was playing, I was going through like the pressure in my head, like I've got to play good, got to make sure I win. And obviously because I'm not from the country, but I played some country footy. A lot of the country teams from the other side didn't really like the SA girl playing in the team as such. So it was a little bit more pressure behind me, but it was an amazing experience to win a game, and then winning the best on ground was just quite a nice achievement for myself as well.
That's good. Were both games close? Were they blowouts?
The first one was quite close one, and then the second one in the country, I think we only won by 2 goals, so not close, but like close but not close, you know.
For sure, that's still good no matter how you win. I mean, that's still a great achievement, and to get best on, just a icing on the cake there.
Yeah.
So, any nicknames you get given at the club that you like or dislike?
Well, at Eagles, everyone seems to call me BP to the point where I actually forget what my name is because everyone's just BP. And then because we had a talk guy come in once, and he asked me what my name was, and I said BP, but he thought he heard Beefy, so now Beefy's starting to stick on me, but don't really like that one.
What's he done? He didn't listen, and now he's giving you accidentally that.
Yeah.
I'll go BP or Bianca because that's the right way to go. Any outside of footy interests that you have?
Yeah, I used to play netball before footy, but now I've just started to focus on footy a lot.
Yeah.
And then just at school, really, and that's about it, really.
That's all right. Were you any good at netball?
Yeah, I was quite good playing in the top teams at Garville Netball Club, but then I just sort of got to the point where my body was like, with all the like high trainings that we have at Eagles nearly once every day, I just really had to decide. So, yeah.
Absolutely fair. Any coaches' pets at the Eagles?
Oh, nah, not too bad. Everyone's sort of quite even, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think
Don't
Grace
think
said the
so.
same answer. So
Yeah, everyone's pretty good and everyone has their fair share, I guess. I don't think anyone's quite a pet as such. So yeah.
that's sometimes a good thing. Any favourite TV shows or movies that you have?
Favorite TV shows. I don't mind the Vampire Diaries. It's a good little one, or like the Outer Banks. But yeah, for movies, I just love a good rom-com. Don't mind them.
Nice. What do you feel is the best individual game you've ever played that's kind of getting you noticed to the position that you're in right now?
Damn. Yeah, I feel like I had some really good games playing in my SANFL games because I did not in my SANFL games, in my junior games, because I did get pole every year when I was in my juniors game in the like association account. So I'd assume that maybe had been looked at from there, but I did have a quite good round last year, and I think round 11 where I pulled like third best in the game.
No.
I think that one would have probably been one of my better games playing off the halfback, but yeah.
Now, you mentioned playing backline and then sometimes in the midfield. So this might not be a rare occurrence, but I'm going to ask it anyway, and maybe it is. What is one of the best goals you've ever kicked? It can be locally. It could be in SANFLW. It could be in any thing you've ever been a part of. What is the best goal you feel you ever kicked?
Well, I actually haven't kicked one in SANFLW yet because I haven't had the opportunity. But in juniors footy, we were winning by so much, so I was hidden in the back line, but I got the ball and I ran the whole field and then kicked a goal myself. That was probably my best footy moment for a goal there.
That's very good. That's better than anything. Better than nothing, I mean. If you were to best describe though the goal of the year, if you will, how would you describe? Would you want to torp from 50 out? Would you want to kick out of the siren from a certain distance? Some snap from the boundary? What would you pick? If you got to pick the perfect, it'd be unrealistic if you think, what one would you pick?
Oh, I would definitely choose like kicking the goal on the siren to make your team win the game. That would probably got to be the best feeling, but it'd also be the biggest nerves trying to kick the footy. But if I knew it was definitely going to go in, I'd definitely take the goal after the siren. That's got to be an amazing feeling. The team would all probably jump on you and praise you.
Absolutely. Hopefully no concussion, no blood noses out of it, because we've seen some players do these and they jump on each other, they come back out and they're bleeding already. So replicating basically the Dan Houston, and I'm sure you remember that very, very well.
Oh, yes, I did. Against, I think it was the Sydney Swans. That was like, well, I remember it, we were all in the living room. My family thought we'd lost the game, and then we turned around and we hear the Port song playing, and we're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And Dan Houston is pop now. Speaking of Dan Houston, he's probably if he's not the best kick in the competition, he's definitely up there. Not because of that. He's shown that plenty of times he can kick over 50 and accurately. And in that conditions, that game, it was not raining heavily or anything, but it was, pretty wet. And with a waterlogged ball, it just makes that, and the pressure and the siren and everything just makes the occasion for him much, much better.
Yeah, definitely. I've always said that he's got a quite good kick. Whenever he's always, majority of his goals do come from that 50 sort of barrier. So for him to be able to kick those in such situations like that is just absolutely amazing.
Now, just quietly, I'm surprised they did not win goal of the year purely for the fact of all those reasons that we just mentioned then about the accuracy, the moment, the waterlogged ball, the distance, the angle as well. It was actually towards the boundary more than closer in the middle as well. But whatever happens. That's the AFL for you. Who do you feel is the best player in the AFLW competition? Because not just this year, but just in general, because it's really hard to pick. It's pretty even. You got obviously Monconti, Laura Gardner, Ebony Marinoff, Jazz Gunn, Ash Riddell. Who would you have in that category? Not clear.
Yeah, well, overall, from like the whole AFLW, I'd always say Erin Phillips. I think she's a great leader, and she's always like she's won so many achievements, and she's just got so much footy brains to offer to the game, and she's probably one out of majority of them to be around footy for so long. But I definitely agree, Monty has definitely like stepped up like the last few years. Even Ebony Marinoff as well. Those three are probably like my top. But I did have a sort of love for Taylor Harris for a while as well. When the kick sort of issue came about, I sort of like followed her around and sort of watched a few of her games. She's got some great markings that I just sort of looked up to as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Who loves the limelight, the attention, the camera at the Eagles or any team you've been a part of and can't get enough, and they know exactly where the camera is and they know to over-celebrate or do some tricks on someone? Anyone in here that strikes out?
I feel like if there's a camera watching, Marley Fegit might always give a little smile, but I feel like if I know where the camera is as well, I sort of end up looking over that direction. But, yeah.
That's fair. And to be honest, I'd probably do the same when I haven't played for a fair while, but as I was a small forward, I know when there was a crowd, because generally at lower level footy you don't have, massive crowds, but I know when there was the so-called cheer squad around the goals, I'd play it up a little bit, and it's pretty cool. And especially kicking a goal. Now, speaking of goals again, we're going to revisit this a little bit. Mark or goal of the year, which one would you rather take and why?
Honestly, I think I'd take the mark of the year only because I'm not too heavy on like goals of the year, like in kicking goals. It's not really my particular strength or something that I do in my position. I feel like taking a mark of the year would just feel amazing, like getting that height. Majority of the time, a mark of the year is like a specky, so I couldn't imagine like the feeling of that in the air. But I feel like at the end of the day, either or is just such a great achievement to ever win. So yeah.
If you could poach any player or players from another club, who would you want to poach? Well, now, this can lead to either two clubs. You can either poach someone from a SANFLW club to poach to the Eagles, or hypothetically, because you're both to Port Adelaide, if you were with Port, who would you like to poach to join Port if you were there?
Oh, that's hard. Damn, I don't actually know. So for Eagles, I reckon majority of the players I would have stolen would have been people that are drafted now, but
maybe bring Gemma back.
Yeah, I think I would bring Gemma back. I think I would. She was always my best friend that I'd run with on the side, and we'd always just have that best friend banter, and she's such a gun to have around the footy, so I'd probably steal her back. I'd be like, come back home.
It's only been many weeks or months it's been Gemma, but the North Adelaide runs catch forward, according to Bianca.
Yeah, it would definitely steal her back from North and bring her back in the Eagles.
Absolutely. What's something someone does at the club that you can't stand, whether it's scaring someone from a bin, leaving rubbish around, anything that strikes out?
One thing that like annoys me is when like all the bibs are left on the floor and like they don't put them in the crate. I don't know why, but it just like really irritates me. Like just picking up after yourself, or like when people leave things at training, I just don't understand how you leave things. Like I'm a very organised person, so how do you leave things like your footy boots or your sneakers at training? So yeah.
I've seen people at my cricket games. I don't know how this is possible. So you might think that's bad, and this was probably worse. So you got your big cricket bag with basically, or actually everything in it. So a couple of times I've seen people do this. They leave the game, and I go, well, where'd they go? They've left their entire bag here.
Yeah,
I don't know how that's even possible. Is that big and noticeable, and you forget?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And then this person I'm referring to may be listening, so there you go. Interstate trips. Have you ever had the opportunity to do any interstate trips for footy at all?
No, I haven't travelled interstate at all for any footy. Only just watching like an AFL Port game, but other than that, I haven't.
Okay, nice. Have you ever had any fan interaction moments with an AFL or AFLW player as a fan, whether that's at a workplace? Because I think Gemma mentioned that. I think it was Gemma mentioned while at work, she had this moment where there was a bunch of AFLW players come to her workplace, and she was kind of put in a tough spot and went back to the back of the shop and went to a manager and said, "So and so's here," and they're like, "Who?" And so have you ever had anything like that? Not necessarily at a workplace, but or anything like that, but at a game? And if you met them, is it a good interaction?
Yeah, this is actually quite funny. In December, like just gone, I went to a concert, 50 Cent, and Sam Pepper was actually in the line in front of me. And because he's like one of my top players, I was so excited. I was screaming happy. So I went up to him and asked him for a photo. And then because I had a previous little interview at our SANFLW testing, and they asked me which player I aspire to play like, I said him, and I told him, and he was just so great to have like a little conversation with, and he was just very engaging and very polite. So definitely still keep him like quite high up, because sometimes they don't like, when they're outside of footy, don't like to talk about it or like to keep their own life personal. So it was great that he took like 2 minutes out of his time that made my day, sort of thing.
No, absolutely. And I mean, that's what it should be. I mean, it's just like, moments like this that you'll never forget. And as you said, it's not like you say made up Sam Pepper. Like sometimes, you can meet a player and kind of lie your way through, oh, I'm your biggest fan and all that, when sometimes that may be true and sometimes it's just a lie because, you're running. But, as you said, it's all legit. You had the videos you said on the SANFLW site, and then you mentioned earlier today that he was your favourite or one of as well. And just makes the moment even special that it is one of your favourite players, and you happen to run into one of 500 players, however many it is in a competition, and it just happened to be the one.
Exactly.
It's good. Who's some teammates you've been impressed by, the Eagles or any of the teams you've been a part of, that you feel that has impressed you and is kind of flying under the radar a little bit when it comes to draft talk, that probably should get a bit more attention than what they do, or if they get any at all?
Yeah, there's definitely like our captain Annie Falkenberg. She works so hard, and she's probably like the key to our team. And I feel like she goes a little bit unnoticed in the sort of drafty sort of aspect. I know she definitely gets valued and appreciated within Eagles, but another one as well is Sophie Zool. She's she's playing the wing, and now she's taking up our role on the wing, and she's just got heaps of our footy. She was our best and fairest, not season just gone, the one before, and she's just another good little gun too. But the thing is, they're on the little bit of the older side, so maybe that's why they don't necessarily get looked at. But they're two players to definitely keep your eye on.
And for sure, it's probably a good thing to think of. And you see all these avenues, as you would be fully aware, in AFL or AFLW, of all these, it's not just the main drafts. If you miss out on that, there's plenty of other opportunities. There's, injury replacement players, and in the AFL, there's obviously a mid-season draft. There's all these other avenues and pre-season supplementary period signings. So it's never over when the main does. I know in the moment it would hurt, and I'm sure it would. Obviously, I haven't been in that position, but it would really hurt. Speaking to a fair few people that have unfortunately been in that position, but there's all these other avenues to get picked up as well.
Yeah,
at any age.
I definitely agree with that. I feel like with the women's footy, we're so lucky. If you don't get picked up in your draft year, it's got to bite your tongue and sort of just keep going with it. If you really want it, you can make yourself get it. There's Caitlin Pope got drafted season gone, and she's quite older than the supposed draft age. So I just feel like if you really want to do it, and you put your mind to it and you keep going and play your best footy, you can still have your chance.
Absolutely. One name that just comes to mind in the AFL was Jai Newcombe. Obviously, I'm not exactly sure of the age he was drafted. I think he might have been 19 or even 18, but he missed out on his draft and got picked up in the mid-season draft, and now he's a gun mid, not only for Hawthorn, but in the competition as well. And it just, as I said, it just shows they can get there.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely agree. I think it's just a matter of time. When it's your time, you just got to go for it and take the opportunity when it comes.
Absolutely. So I've got two more questions for you. So I really appreciate you coming on, Bianca. What's some fun facts about you that some people won't know about?
I can talk here. Fun fact, maybe just that I'm a very talkative and loud person. Everyone says you can never shut me up. So yeah, I don't really know what fun facts to say.
That's fair. I get the exact same as you just said. Plenty of time.
Yeah. So I probably took anyone's ear off for days about anything, anytime. So yeah.
That's fair. So final one question coming on now. Defenders. Now you said you play as a defender at times, so obviously this I may know where the answers are going here, but obviously in the Brownlow, everyone can say what they like. It's really a midfielders award, and sometimes ruckman now are starting to get votes in there. The Coleman's obviously clearly directed towards forwards and slightly miss if you're a goal kicking mid. But defenders, they don't have their own title. Should they have their own official title of an award to that capacity like those two awards are? Whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, I definitely always have said that. I know at the Eagles this year we ended up giving out a best and fairest like defender because you always have the top goal kicker like the Coleman medal, which so a forward's always going to be recognised. And let's be real, every Brownlow's majority a midfielder, as you said. So I definitely think that there should be like a Defender of the Year award or something more like more on the pressure side of footy and the ruthless, like being ruthless or something, so that the defenders can get recognised, because being a defender is just such a hard position, and the pressure and obviously all of them matter as much as each other. So I feel like if you're giving something for the most goals and then the best player, which is majority of the time the most possessions, which usually comes from the mid, I feel like the defenders should have an opportunity to be recognised.
Absolutely. Bianca, it's been a pleasure to have you on. All the best for the draft at the end of the year. Hopefully, next time later in the year, we may speak again and hear that you're on an AFLW list or on the verge of being on one. So, Bianca, real pleasure coming on. It's been good having you on.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a good day.
You too.